The main task we have this week is getting ourselves set up to do the rest of the code you're going to do through this class and really all future classes. And so I want to take a moment to introduce you to the interactive development environment. The core behind this is basically figuring out which one you want to use. Now, the course first steps takes you through Eclipse, and there's an installation video on working with and installing Eclipse that's out there. But either choice you are working with, just know that the IDE is your friend eventually. It's going to take some time to get used to. You probably want to play with each of them in turn. This class, as I said, introduces Eclipse. Many of the later classes require NetBeans use. They're very similar in some ways, and then there's a few keystrokes that'll drive you crazy in other ways. Like I think it's Control-I to deal with the imports in NetBeans and Control-O to do the same thing in Eclipse, if it's still the same. There's little differences like that get stuck in your head. And you have to learn those subtleties internally. But each of the tools has great tricks and tips, and it's going to make your job of coding much easier. The biggest thing is like code complete. You hit in either tool, hold down Control and hit space. It's going to help you finish whatever code you're writing with right away. Each of the tools has the ability to insert different types of code, creating things called getters and setters we'll learn about, and constructors, and all sorts of things that you'll be able to figure out as you go along and play with your code. So the things that you want to play with here to start with is we want to set up a project and understand how packages and file names are part of that project. I want you to go through and break things. I want you to see what errors looks like, and I'll show you what that means as we go off and start playing with the code. And then figure out what it means to compile and run code. I want you to play with the layout of the tool in the presentation, how you can move things around and clear space and make whatever your brain is happy with it happy. Again, code complete I just talked about. We're going to play with that, getting help from the tool and using it to basically use just a handful of keystrokes to type really complicated things. And then I want you to be running applications and maybe even playing with the debugger, seeing how applications change variables as they go forward. So we're going to do this for now using that tool we installed called Eclipse. And so here is our Eclipse environment. And so we can get started here. There's some new Java project, hello world application. There's all sorts of things we can do here. And here you can see the guided walkthrough on making that happen. So we can take a look at that and see what happens. So look at that cheat sheet over the top. It's going to tell you what to do, how to make that happen. So here's a great little helper that you can use to do that. Now, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to leave that to you to go off and see. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to kind of do it by hand here, if you will, because just show you another perspective on it. But remember, in your IDE, whatever IDE it is, you have to start with a new project. And so you can open existing projects if they're already out there. But if you don't have something already, there's going to be a new here. Now, Eclipse will give you the option to use this file menu for a lot of stuff. New, and you can see project is right there. There's also buttons right here, new, and you can see the same thing, project right here. You can also right-click in many places and say new, project right there. And then often there's a keystroke option as well. We don't have it in this case because you don't create new projects all that often. But all three of those that I just showed you lead to the same next page, a project here. Hello world. All right, and there's a bunch of stuff here that normally you can ignore. The JRE is the version of Java that you're using. The project layout gives you a couple different choices. Project folder is a root for sources. Create a separate folder for sources. This is the default here. I'll show you what it looks like here in a second. Most of these things, as I said, you're not going to know about for now. It's okay to leave them. I hit next. You can see the source folder here. This is where our code goes into. It's most important when we get into complicated applications that have other configuration files and stuff. It allows us to separate our source file folders. Again, other little application options like where our executable code goes in the bin folder by default. You can change around different things like projects and libraries and stuff. You'll learn about those later on. I want you to see that they're there, but for now, it's really simple. We just name the project next, finished, or just hit finish right away. Hello world right there. So you can see our Java project's been created. Here's our source folder. Here's our system library to get started with. And then I can right click here again, or I can do the new option again, or I can do file new again. Again, any of these will work. I can create a new class in this case. If I say new class from there, I've got to pick the package it goes into. So what's a package? A package in Java is a folder that helps you organize your code. All Java code really should be in some package somewhere, because that's the only way to tell it where it's at. So let's say you're new in town and you just flew in to the airport. You can't really have an address of the airport. And that's what kind of code within a package is. I can't just have mail come to the airport and say, new guy in town, Tony, at the airport. So if you want other people to be able to use your class, be able to interact with your class, you probably should put it in a package. If you're just creating a main program, simple hello world, you don't need a package to get started with, which is why it's not insisting on their one being here. Other IDEs, that being specifically, will always create a default class, default package for you based off of the project name. We don't necessarily need one. So we'll just give the name right here. So the name is first project. No, not project. I don't like that. First, you know what? Let's be more specific. Hello main. So again, you work through the name. Think about different names you want inside of there. Have that name be reflective of the goal you're going to have happen, or in this case, the name of the class we're going to build is reflective of the functionality it's delivering. But later on, you'll build classes based off of the UML diagrams you created, the different classes you created, because this name of the file ends up being the name of the class as well. Class name ends up being the same thing. So you can see hello main.java. The name aligns to hello main of the class right here. If I say, you know what, I don't really like hello main right there. I want hello start. Oops, I can't type here. Start. Save that. Okay, well now I have all these red X's that showed up here. Hello start must be defined in its own file. Well, that's not a very useful error message. Must be its own file. Doesn't tell you what to do. Well, the reason for that is hello start must be in a file called hellostart.java. So there's two quick fixes available. I could rename the compilation unit, the file here, to be hello start, or I can rename the class here to be hello main. So I can fix it by clicking on that right there, and it makes the compilation go away. Now, the thing about that is the IDE was very helpful. It gave me some options to make that go away, but it doesn't necessarily give me the right option. I have to understand what each of those options mean. I have to understand why it's making do that. Because you could end up just in this circular loop of renaming things and back and forth, and other classes are dependent and you don't know what's going on. So use those tools to save button clicks or mouse clicks or keyboard types, but use them when you understand what they're doing. And again, this is what I was talking about, playing with things. We'll see a little bit later, there's a package definition. Package foo outside of there. Package foo means this should be in a folder called foo. So I can move hello main to a package called foo, in which case it would create a folder on my operating system and do that. Or I can just get rid of the package declaration, depending on what I want to have happen. So again, I could say move to package foo, then you can see it created this package out there, created this folder underneath it, and moved my class over there. If that's not what you wanted, then you can delete that. And then it tells you again, like, hey, this declarative package isn't there. I can move it back to the default package using this tool again. Like, it makes my life pretty nice, but then you can see package foo is sitting out there, and I have to delete that separately. Which there, I can hit the delete. Do I want to delete package foo? Yeah, okay, yes, it goes away. All right, so that's a little bit of getting started. Now, we still don't have a main method here. Let's make a main method. Now in Java, somewhere in your application, if you're going to run it, you have to have what's called a main method. Eclipse is really helpful for this because I can type the word main inside of there, hit control and space, and it recommends. So now it's going to tell you, this code recommender is what it's calling it here. I can use the word hello main inside of here. I don't know what that does. It looks like the class name, but I don't know. Or main method. And that gives you a little hint there. It's going to go add that code you see right there in yellow. Public static void main string args. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. This is a main method inside of here. And this is where my code will run. So if I hit save on this, I actually have a program that will run now. Run and run. or Control F11, or the run button, which is this one right here. Nope, that's breadcrumbs. Oh, here, right here's the run button. So it'll go off and run this code. Now, it ran it, didn't do anything. Did it run it? Let's see, hit the run button again. Yeah, well, there's nothing to do. We haven't put any code inside of here. So, of course, it didn't do anything. So that's something we can fix. Let's put it in our hello world actual code. So we start with system, the word system right inside of there. Now, you see system turned red right away. What's up with that? Oh, well, I have to have a semicolon to finish that. See, the compiler's really smart. It works really quick. If I pause, it immediately starts to compile stuff. System dot, oh, look at that. When I hit the dot, it popped up this automatically and started giving me options. These are methods I can call inside of here, and this is attributes I can access. So there's this system dot out right here. So I can hit this. All right, system dot out. Dot. Oops, there was a comma right there. So I put a comma inside of there. Then it tells me there's a different error. Syntax error, comma, expected semicolon. No, it's not what I want to comma right there, but I hit dot instead. And again, it pops up everything. Now, if it didn't pop everything or it goes away, I can hold down Control and hit space, and it'll bring that back up. And there you can see print line. Hello world, right there. I hit Control S to save that, and my code is saved. There's also a save button up here if you like the buttons, but I like keyboard hotkeys. I hit run, and now since it's doing something, you can see when I hit run, the console shows up and it says hello world. Just to prove it, hello Tony's world. I hit run on that. Hello Tony's world. There's the code that's going back and forth. So that's the most basic application. Your guidance through Hello World, if you did this tool, looks something like that. I want to show you a few other things quickly before we get out of here. Up here's the task list. This will tell you things to do in your code. I don't like this taking up the space here. I can take this, I can move the task list down here. You can see I clicked on the tab right here. I'm dragging it. It could be showing up at any of these places. It's going down here. I bring it down here. It's this red X. Don't put it there. Put it here. Boom. That task list moves down here. The outline. Again, it's taking up a lot of my code space. I want more space for my code. I can drag that over here. I can either put it side by side or top to bottom. Boom, I move that outline over here. So the outline shows my code hello main. It shows me the method, main method, and by clicking here, you can see how it interacts over on my code to take me to that spot. So that's a little bit about how this can be docked and moved around. Let's say I want the console to be up here. I can actually make this top to bottom here. And have that console show up. So I can make this small and the console big. So when I run it, it happens like that. Or I can, again, pop this down here, go to the task list, but when I run it, the console will pop up by default, and I'll see the output here. All right, so that's a lot of what you have going on to start with. There's some very specific instructions for you to walk through. This is just giving you a feel for the tool in dynamic full color live motion video. I wasn't trying to do everything you're asked to do in that assignment. Notice I didn't pull up the instructions or anything. I think that you can probably follow those instructions. The most important thing to do is play with it. See how things go. Introduce errors. What if I type this wrong? OUTT. Okay, again, I hit this red underline thing. What does it mean? OUTT cannot be resolved or is not a field. Oh, quick fix available. Change to out. It's guessing what I was trying to do. Okay, that seems to work. What if I did ERT? All right, it says, oh, change to error. Is that what I wanted? I probably meant to do out, but I do to error. What's this do? Let's see. Oh, look, it turned out as red instead of black, because the error stream points out as red, as opposed to black, which is the out stream. Again, this is just about playing with it. That's what I want you to do, particularly this first week, is just play with this and feel comfortable with the errors. If it all goes perfectly and you never see an error, you're not learning as much as if you introduce a few errors and see if you can fix them. So have fun with that, play with it. Let me know if you have any questions.